Hi everyone, Alchemist Lion here, and today we're going to take a look at Canny's Homebase. So we're starting this with Canny's Homebase, and it's where you start at. So a lot of people are familiar with it. I would say this amp is probably the one that people need the least amount of help with. But at the same time, I think it's good to include because there's a theme that runs through all the builds, and I want to kind of cover that. And this is probably the closest thing that I could give to a customize your own canny build. Again, I wouldn't say it's fully like that. I think there's certain traps that do better than others, but this is a great playground to experiment and see different aspects of traps and how they interact with higher level husks without it being twine and this intense struggle. Canny still has a bit of ease to it once you have a high enough stats, and if you don't, building like this will make it a lot easier to get to the end. And we're going to cover it. I'm just going to go through. A lot of this build is based off of the Dart build. So if you want to see the intricacies, I would say go there. I'll link the videos. If you're looking at this and think I have really good stats, I don't need to overbuild like this, because this is definitely overbuilt. I would say, especially for Homebase, the back half doesn't even get used. But that's my stats. So I'm not building just for me when I'm showing these, and that's the thing. So if you want a reduced build, or if you want to do something in between, I have a build that's 1150 structures that was under. Mitch Robs, he's a buddy of mine. He also has builds. He has an expensive build and a cheap build. They're all viable, and the main thing is you just got to find what works best for you. So we're going to start here from the south spawn, and I'm really just going to go through it. Now, again, the traps aren't vital. If you see the trap, pick a trap that work from your schematics that would work in this. I would say focus on trying to get durability in the front, and that's a little bit more forgivable in the back. Reloads are really good for certain traps, but again, you got to balance that with your durability. So you just got to kind of tailor it to what you have. If you see things like gas traps, I would say they're interchangeable with zappers. If you see things like seal electric fields, I would say they're interchangeable with drop traps. And it's more just the height than it is the actual damage input that they're putting out. You'll see gas traps are really good at the starting waves to get rid of the smaller husks, but they can set off propanes and things, especially towards the later waves. So, there's a give and take to a lot of this. And the real thing is just play with it, experiment. It's more about the build, the structure itself, and where placements are. You see a wall here, that's kind of a vital piece. It doesn't matter what's on the wall, it's more just the actual pathing and builds. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get all the husks to go through this path. And so this area is blocked off like this. And we have our ceilings up top here that are kind of just getting and hitting down and really deterring things from wanting to walk up and underneath all of this. And you only need a few rows here. You'll notice this whole part is just a blank floor that I'm hanging over this ridgy area. And then as it goes to the end, it's kind of a little bit sectioned off and blocked off here. So this spawn area, and I'll just walk through it all, is set up to try to maximize, but again, we're not spreading out all over spawn. Like, it's just a waste of mats in all honesty. It's once they start funneling in and you get that targeted approach of maximizing what and how many husks are being hit with your traps. Because when you start spawn damaging, especially in open one-directional spawns like this, it's kind of wasting the placement of traps. You're getting very little husk damage over here by having a drop trap right here in this one spot versus waiting until they get to a spot here and like throwing drops right here and underneath here, because all the husks are coming and walking under this spot, not just a little section of them. And so when they walk up, and this is the path that we get them walking up on, we're really just trying to hit them with as much as possible as they're getting up here. And if there's big husks, like a lot of this, like for example, these dynamos, they're not going to hit a bunch of things. Do you really need them? Probably not. I was really just maximizing the damage output for some of the bigger husks that are walking up here. And then as they get up, it's, again, just really trying to hit them with as much as possible. Anytime you see a speaker, I'll guarantee you there's a dart right in behind it on both sides. And I have these speakers, again, because the propane becomes an issue when you start getting into Canny. So I like having the speakers to detract from that. I've been using spikes. This was before CC was gone. So again, you could be putting floor freezes down on here. It's not a science where it's super specific. There is some playroom to this. And again, you know, these gas, you can do zappers, you can do drops, and you can have a lot of flexibility to this. And then once they get to this top part here, once they get to the top of the ramp, what I do is I break them and I kind of separate them with this little square. And with it damaged out and this, you know, floor like this, it's enough to path them around. And to be honest, that's as far as they get here. This is as far as they get on when I run this. All this is just bonus that never gets used. You'll notice here I even had low walls at one stage, and I had traps on them. But as I've been, you know, progressively building and changing and needing some structures and not wanting to break my AFK spot fully, I just borrow from the areas that aren't really needed with my stats. But at the same time, most people shouldn't need builds here. It's pretty close to the amp. Everything should be dead by that point. And then inside that box, you'll see all these low walls, and then it's basically darts everywhere. I even have, because this used to be the dart only build, when smashers used to go and try to break things, I even had backup darts that you probably don't even need with this build, still in play. So like these walls here that aren't actually shooting anything, you probably don't need them. Same as over here. Oh, actually I don't have them over here, that's cool. Oh yeah, this is all set up from the south. And then you'll look down over here. Husks can sometimes migrate this way. And especially flingers and stuff, they'll want to come here. So what we have is we have an anti-here here to kind of deter them wanting to throw. And then just like a little kill box. If they happen to get past here, sometimes mini bosses later on will, you know, break through that eventually. We have like a little failsafe just in case. And then if they did break that, they're still having to get through all this. Which is, you know, if that was the case, you could put a dart here, but you don't need to. And that is all from the south end. One additional thing I'd probably mention here is the anti-airs. You'll notice I have one here and one way over here. And the thing with anti-airs is, if they're placed right, nothing will throw. They might do a test throw, and as long as it shoots it, they won't do anything. And that's what these are here in position for, is to avoid, you know, a flinger landing here and thinking that they can throw, or having one land in that corner and thinking they can throw. But for the most part, everything is already dealt with the tunneling. They're not in a spot where the flingers are going to throw. And instead they're going to just basically walk through and try to get to the other side of this. And so that's the goal. You don't need to litter 100 anti-airs down. It's really about finding the right spots. And in Canny, especially, I've really worked at trying to get those areas down to avoid. And if I can't do that, or if there was issues, it basically went back to like a lobber shield, which you'll see when we go over to our imp amp over there. And now we're going to take a look at the west spawn over here and see what we have set up on this side. For the west spawn, again, over here is where, you know, husks will generally attempt to go unless it's kind of trapped out or blocked off, and so I just have it trapped out and blocked off. And again, it just for a little stray, it's not a lot that's going to walk up here. It's more they kind of test the waters, and as soon as a husk dies, the AI on all the others just is like, yeah, no, that's not a good idea. Let's just go the normal way. And so that's why we leave open paths. We don't block things because it makes the husks look at it as this is the way they want to go. Because there's nothing blocking them to get right to the amp aside from traps. And so if you don't have enough block off, or you don't have traps on your block off to make them question that possibility, that's when they start breaking it. Because they'd rather, you know, break empty block off than go through this trap tunnel. And so all we do is, it's again really dart heavy because that's what I had work for a lot of these builds. The main thing here is, from the dart build, is the lack of a lobber shield. And we're really using, again, the well-placed the well-placed anti-airs to really deter them. So the one right here, and again, look, I have it, even in here, I have it trapped because I really don't want them going here. And then we have one right here, and then one right up here. And I find these two right kind of in the middle of this, right in line with the amp, really make the husks not want to look at coming up here to throw, let alone the fact that there's a bunch of darts here hitting them anywhere they stand. So those two factors in combination are how you get away with not having a lobber shield at all. Now, down here, again, you've seen electric field. You can throw down drop traps. If you see something, you know, play with the trap combinations. This isn't set in stone. You really like broadsides and think they're greater than darts. Try it out. Try it once with broadsides, try it once with darts. See what the difference is. I think sometimes that's how you learn things, and some of the information can surprise you. A lot of this will also have fail safes. So if things break, I was really planning on smashers breaking stuff. So if things break, there's things in behind. So say if propane goes off here and blows this up, we still have something in the back. And I didn't take that away with this. I wasn't looking at having a build like I kind of do in some of my other ones, that nothing's breaking and everything's just dying nicely. My floaty build in Canny, I really tried to make sure that's the case. But in this one, I was going off the thing that some things are going to break, and that is actually going to make the build better, because then I'm renewing durability on traps. Like, say this got used a lot, and then all of a sudden a propane broke it later on. Now I have a brand new dart with full durability right behind it, ready to shoot. And that's kind of the whole desire to this, is to really just reinforce it and make it super strong. And again, you see gas traps, you can put zappers, you know, even electric fields. Just try anything. It's really just about having fun and experimenting. That's why I say don't go build for build. If anything, look at all the different builds that are out there and, you know, make your own concoction of them. But yeah, as they go up, we're just really trying to hit them with as much damage as possible. Again, these ones are more for smashers and the mist monsters, the higher up things, because the littler husks aren't going to get hit by that. But as they get up, that's when they become more, you know, damage inducing. And so then we have up here, and this is pretty much just a straight line. You know, a singular path. That's all that we're following. The husks don't like fan out. They kind of just all path together. And leading right to here. And then we do that same sort of pathing with the floor. And then all I've done is I've made it where they have to like zigzag through and go, you know, the full extent of all tiles. And then in here, the block up, we're just having diagonals really just to stop them from moving through this and trying to break that way and break into this tunnel too. You know, really making the smashers, anything like that, try to follow the path until they can get a clear running, you know, stomp at something. But they never really get that here. To the home base. Now, when we go up here, I usually always AFK by Homebase. So you'll notice my AFK spot is up here. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll hop up to the top of that pyramid and I'll hop over next to that gnome up on that cliff over there and kind of sit there too. Those are my two AFK spots in Canny. With AFK spots, the only thing you really have to think of is when a husk is, you know, at a certain far off amp, how are they going to run to, you know, try to get you? And then, you know, set up a kill spot in those pathways. It's not really hard to adjust an AFK spot. I just like Homebase because it's right there. You spawn in here, you turn it on, you go up and sit, sit pretty. But that is basically Homebase in a nutshell. Like I said, I'll link the videos to the other home bases I've built. I'll link that floating canny because it's really cool to see the different concepts. An underbuild, dart only, and then like a floating design where you don't have any floors or walls at all, basically. And then really combining all those elements into basically what I'm using now, which is just a really overpowered base that uses a lot of the techniques that I've kind of learned and developed to make something just really solid and really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one last little walkthrough kind of on mute, just so if you wanted to, you can, slow it down and get a good, eagle eye view on the build, or a good look through and see kind of all the different elements. That's it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this, and have yourself a great day. I'll catch you around.